on everybody, my name's Ed Durbis. This is 93 Drive. Today we're driving a 2022 Mercedes GLE450 4MATIC with a 3.0 inline 6 turbocharged, producing 362 horsepower and 369 pounds of torque, and it'll get it from 0 to 60 in just 5.5 seconds for a car weighs about 5,000 pounds, and it's made it to a 9-speed transmission. With that being said, as you can see, it's absolutely amazing and raining here in Washington, D.C. So let's get inside and let's talk about this GLE450. All right, now that we're inside the GLE450, let's go through these screens as well. This has the same kind of screens that we tested on the GLS63 in our last video. 12.32 screens, and right here in the steering wheel you control these screens. So you go here, there, you're controlling this one. On our clock, go down, gives you all the vital information of the car. Now if you go here, now you're controlling the center screen. Just like so. Now if you go one more, you can do display, you can configure the way any way you want it. Hit the home page. You can control that screen as well. Go home back. If you go right one more time, now you're controlling the other screen. It gives you the consumptions. We average 14.7 miles to the gallon. There's a map if you don't want the big screen on the other side. And there you have it. You go back, main screen in the middle, put it back to right there, or you can leave it right there. It gives you the mileage of the car. And then obviously on the other screen, touch screen, you can go home like we did before. Same thing, radio, phone. You can connect your Bluetooth phone, all that good stuff. Social media, control all that. Comfort, here you can control your seats, your ambient lighting. Right now we have it in green, as you can see all over the place. You go back home, and then the apps for Mercedes and your settings for your car. Go back home. We'll just hit navigation. As we showed you last time, you can just pinch, or you can just go ahead and open it. So there you go. And all the climate controls are pretty intuitive. That's temperature to sync it, and then you have your control pad here as well, where you can control the screen as well. And then obviously with dynamic, you have the settings that you pick for the car itself. So you go here, and obviously you can put individual, sport, we always like it in sport, comfort to soften the suspension and bring the revs down a little bit, and then eco, where you try to save as much fuel as possible. And then you always have off-road, since this is technically supposed to be an off-road vehicle. So there you go. So we'll keep it in sport. So there you go. Everything is pretty intuitive. You obviously have this beautiful wood, nice vents, just same architecture as the other Mercedes, obviously. And then you move over here, you have your Bone Master sound system, heated seats, which we need today because it's cold. Also the cooling seats. And then this one is one of my favorite. You press this, and now with the seats here, you can control the passenger side. You can bring it down, or you can bring it up. Same thing with the bottom cushion. You can move it up and up. So if you need somebody who needs to get in, have more room in the back, you can move the seat forward, or somebody who's much taller, you can move it back for them. So other than that, pretty intuitive. With all that being said, let's get the show on the road. All right, here we go, driving the GLE450 4MATIC. Yeah, we driven some pretty quick cars the last couple cars we've driven, so you probably ask yourself, why are we driving a 450 GLE? Well, we did a video on a E350, and that has always been Mercedes bread and butter. and then came the ML, which this was just originally called the ML320, and obviously it moved up on the engine lines, 350, 55, AMG, and so forth. So here we are on a rainy day in Washington, D.C. What better way to start this day with a 4MATIC GLE450. Now, this is not the entry GLE. You get a GLE350 with a 2.0 inline 4 producing 255 horsepower, and then you have this car, the GLE450, producing the power that we just mentioned, and then the top dog is the 580 producing 483 horsepower. And then from there you move on to the AMG, which is the 53, and that produces 429 horsepower, and the top dog AMG is the 63 with 603 horsepower engine. So this is really puts it right in the sweet spot, because if you really get into the 350, that 255 horsepower for a car that weighs 5,000 pounds, it really isn't a lot of power. So it really takes away from the pleasure of driving this car. And seeing this car is really just catered to be the family car, the soccer car, the car you take to the grocery, the car you take, an example like today when it's raining, or when if it were to be snowing, you'd be taking this car instead of your really fast car. So this is right at that sweet spot. Yes, it's not quick, but 5.5 seconds speedy. It's not too slow for a car that weighs this much. Plus, the same token, you got to remember, when you drive this car, you're probably driving family, friends in it, so you're not really going bonkers with it. So that is a choice that we've made today to drive this car and see really what it feels like and what is it like to drive. Right now it's in sport. There's no sports plus, obviously, because it's not an AMG. So let's take it down. I know that it's not going to be lightning fast or on standstill, but let's just do it just because we do it with all the other cars, and let's not let this one feel neglected. So let's get down location. All right, here we go. For all the marbles and 362 horsepower. Floor down. Not bad, no drama whatsoever. It hooked up pretty well. Obviously, it's no rocket ship, but it did pretty well. And it did have a nice little sound from its engine. It's 3.0 inline 6. But it did exactly what I thought it would do. It's not lightning fast, it's not some dragster, but it just gets you into traffic when you really need to get it, when you need to merge into, say, the highway, or you come into this little street and there's somebody who's always like a knucklehead like we hit last time. It gives enough power. So I'll give you an example here. We'll pass this car, hammer down. Yep, it just gave us enough power to be able to just go around him without any hassle, any drama. And that's exactly what you want from this car, since it is, like I mentioned earlier, it is basically more of a family car and not a huge fast sports car or bonkers like the AMG versions of it. So let's take it around our twisty and see how it does. Although, as we just keep talking about it, nobody's going to be going around twisties all day long in this car. If anything, you would probably be towing your sports car behind and taking it to a track, and probably putting a roof deck, and probably carrying some extra spare tires, or if you like boating, doing the same thing, hauling your boat and putting spare parts for your boat on top. All right, let's get down to location and see what she does on the twisties. All right, here we go down a twisty road. Obviously it is raining, so we're not gonna take it crazy. We do have it in sport. Yeah, the handle's just perfectly fine for what it's meant to be. We got body roll, of course, obviously, because this car is meant more for comfort and not feeling all those bumps on the road. It soaks them up pretty well, just right there as an example. Yeah, and it's got enough torque and it's peppy enough. There's Mr. Mailman. There's absolutely no feeling coming back from the brakes themselves. A lot of body roll right there. We usually get body roll there. Not a lot of communication coming from the steering wheel. There's some, but not really anything that you would want to talk about. We're going to go up the hill. Obviously we have the 4MATIC system, so it's going to help us go up the road without slipping and sliding. Yeah, it's coping well exactly for what this road is and the speed that this road. Yep, body roll there. You can also tell that it's a heavy car. So overall, not too bad. There's a little bit of slippage due to the fact that it's raining. All right, here we go, heading back with our final thoughts on the GLE450. You know, it performed just the way I thought it would on the twisty. Yes, it's raining and it's wet, but it didn't give us that crazy amount of body roll that we found with the Land Rover Discovery. I mean, that was just, we almost had to be right on the speed limit or under, but here, you know, it handled it really well, and it's exactly what this car is meant to be. It's, like I keep saying, it's just basic, you know, the bread and butter of Mercedes when it comes to SUVs, and that it does everything you want it to do. It's got a nice interior, it's got Burmester sound system, nice wood interior. This does not have leather, because once you get to the higher end models, that's when you get the leather already either optional or standard. Obviously in the 450 you can get as an option, but here you get leatherette that Mercedes has been offering for years and years. In regards to that, you do have to maintain it. You have to make sure it does stay, you know, moist, so you have to wash it and clean it a couple times a year. Anyway, you know, there's plenty of room. You got plenty of room to carry 5 people in this car. You got plenty of room to carry enough stuff in the back. Storage, obviously the seats fold down so you can carry more stuff when you're not carrying that many passengers. And you have the roof rail, so you can always, you know, put things up there as well. Like I said, you can tow your car, you can tow a boat. So it's got plenty of power. So that's why I think this is the best configuration of them all, the 450 instead of the 350. Like I said, 350 at 255 horsepower, that's not a lot of power if you want to tow anything, or if you really need to merge into traffic at a highway, you know, when people are coming at 80 plus miles an hour, you need to even look, it's got a little bit more of power, just like this. This is just adequate enough to be able to get you there, get you safely, and get you anywhere. And obviously, one of the things that has changed over the years, that the ML, which was the original one, we started with ML320, then the 430 was the V8, and obviously we had a 55 AMG. But we've moved on from there. And obviously, like I mentioned, all the other different models that we have. But this is the perfect car because it's got enough plenty of power to be able to get you where you need to go, but also it's not going to break the piggy bank when it comes to price points. So you do get enough style. And the other thing that I was going to get to is that the original MLs and even some of the older MLs, they were more like a minivan kind of shape and look to them, where this next generation, this one we're sitting in right now, it's got more angular, muscular look to it, so it makes it look much more tougher and mean and angry, especially if you start going up on the tiers of the AMG. Obviously with the AMGs you get the Pan America grille, which gives you a really angry stance to it. But other than that, it looks fantastic. We got a G-Wagon coming right behind us, pretty nice. We need to find a way to test drive one of those. But anyway, like even here, it soaks up the pumps pretty well. There's absolutely no drama about this car and the way it goes. It goes simply fine. You know, if you want to give it a little gas, let me give it a little gas here. It just has enough torque that it does get up and go. So, well appointed, like I mentioned, like you've seen. So, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I know it is a rainy day here in Washington, but it gives us the opportunity to take something like this out and see what it's like. Obviously, this has a big competitors with the BMW X5, so that one probably handles a tad bit better because BMWs are always tend to be more towards the handling, even though right now their steering seems to be a little numb. But other than that, don't get me wrong, I like BMWs as well. But with all that said, thank you so much for all new subscribers. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the new comments. It do mean a lot to me. And do follow my friend JT at jt.benz on Instagram, and also follow me at ed_Durbis on Instagram as well. We'll post pictures of cars before the video goes up. And, you know, thumbs up, share the video, turn on that notification bell, ding. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to catch you guys in the next video very, very soon. And until then, bye.